All right, welcome everybody to our SNDA meeting today. And today we have Dr. Kevin Sauer, and he's going to be he is the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics president-elect, and he's just going to be presenting to us today about staying active in the academy and the importance of pursuing leadership opportunities. So I will let him take it away.
Thanks for that introduction, Meredith. And again, I appreciate you all joining this evening. We started this program about a month ago called the Boardroom to the Classroom. And I kind of invented it out of a form of passion. The Academy Board of Directors works very hard to stay engaged with the profession. But I said, I think we have a lot of students that would love to meet some of our board members. And when I ran for president-elect, one of my campaign statements was that I don't think we want a board. So I like to keep them active, and we're all sharing these. We have about 40 of these opportunities set up, and I've got some slides here to share here in a little bit. But a little bit about me, you can just call me Kevin. I'm fine with that. And I am talking to you from Manhattan, Kansas. Have any of you been there before? I didn't think so. We're called the Little Apple. We're about 2 hours west of Kansas City, the home of Kansas State University. I think maybe we've played LSU a few times in a few sports, but Kansas State University, we were the first land-grant university, so fairly historic university, the first coordinated program in dietetics in the country. So we have a rich history here, and I just really am honored to be president-elect of the Academy and also a professor. I co-direct a research center for food safety and child nutrition programs, and I teach mostly administrative courses in that sector. And just absolutely love the education side of things after being in practice for about 12 years. So I do want to say up front, if you're ever in Manhattan, Kansas for any reason, track me down and look me up. Be happy to show you around, introduce you to our students. I know they would like to meet you as well. Now, I also want to take this opportunity. Dr. McKinley, I'm going to put you on the spot. I just saw that you are the 2021 Outstanding Dietitian of the Year for the Louisiana Academy of Nutrition Dietetics, and I just want to congratulate you on that. That's outstanding.
Thank you. I was not expecting to get that so early in my career. I was expecting that maybe closer to retirement. So now I just have like bigger things to strive for.
That's right. And maybe Academy President one day. Never say never. And I think you were the 2020 Emerging Leader Award with the same affiliate. So you're clearly on your way and demonstrating leadership. So I always like seeing when colleagues who are educators are recipients of those awards, because I think that inspires a lot of the students to go on. So congratulations on that. I think that's really outstanding. Okay, who can tolerate a few slides? Thanks, Meredith. I knew you would. And Andy, thank you as well. I have a few. And Dr. McKinley said she would talk to your faculty and give you each 10,000 extra credit points for participating in these slides here. So maybe that's a few too many, but let me get this here set up. Okay, thumbs up. Is that showing up in normal view there, Meredith? Okay, thanks. So again, thanks for having me. All of these student groups usually have an acronym, so I guess you are the SNDA. I had a feeling ours is just SDA. Is everyone actually in dietetics, or some folks in a nutrition degree? Probably a mixture.
We expanded out from SDA to SNDA to include the nutrition pre-meds, our nutrition health and society folks, and then we have some food science students.
Good for you. Thanks for that. We're seeing pretty common trends across the board when we do these. My next slide is a visual for you. It says, I am the Academy. And I want you to realize that we really do believe in a we approach. The Academy that you may or may not be a member of as a student, I hope you are, and if not, I hope you'll consider it. We really do believe in we are the Academy. We are a very member-driven organization, a large organization. As you know, about 70,000 members that supports 120,000 credentialed practitioners. Been around for over 105 years. So again, a very strong, reputable, respected profession and organization called the Academy. And when we put this session together and the Academy helped me put the slides together, I ran through it the first time and I said to myself, that kind of feels like a sales pitch. So I thought, well, rather than dance around that, I just do want to be upfront with one of the first few slides and say, what I'm about to present to you is a sales pitch. And it's because I believe in the academy, or I wouldn't do this. So I'm going to talk to you about a few benefits that you may or may not be aware of as student members. And maybe you'll think about student membership, or maybe you'll think about active membership after you pass that RD exam as well. So for today, really what I want to do is talk about some tools and resources that are available to you as a member that you can use to support your education and studies going forward. You might think about, how can I make an impact in my classroom through what I've learned, or through my leadership aspirations, maybe during my internship rotation, or with the clients and patients that I directly serve. After graduation, you might ask yourself, how will I keep up with the emerging science of nutrition and dietetics? What about my credentialing requirements? How will I maintain those? How can I build a successful career that will continue to evolve as your life and personal interests change, along with your professional interests as well? And then again, I like the thought that maybe we'll talk a little bit about leadership today too. So as an example of a member benefit, we're all aware of what happened on March 11th, 2020. I know exactly where I was when the radio came on. They started canceling international flights and exhibits and national games. And I thought, this pandemic's real. This is really going to happen. I remember when our university during spring break announced that they were going to extend spring break by a week. I said, that's impossible. There's no way we could ever do that. And look what happened. I remember about 3 weeks later, we were putting the whole semester on hold and going all virtual. So all the never I thoughts became true. And I know that you all experienced those as well. But what you have here on the screen is an example of the academy being very responsive to that pandemic and the needs of members and students. They developed what was called a professional resource hub very quickly to support the numerous changes that were occurring in practice related to the pandemic. If there's some silver light from that pandemic, it taught us that we have a lot of opportunity in our profession, including telehealth and meeting the patients and clients where they are instead of them always having to come to us. So you'll see here is one example of a professional resource hub. Has all kinds of Q&A sections and frequently asked questions, a section for critical issues, videos, highlights, stories from the front lines, and some webinars that you might find of interest as well that you can access as a member of the academy as a student. Does anyone know how much student membership is in the academy before we go forward? Any brave individuals?
Isn't it 55?
It's $58, very close, Meredith. So an
Yeah,
additional
they were
10,000 extra
65.
points to your grade as well. Cassie, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I've been around 65 this semester.
Yeah, so you're right in the ballpark. And again, money's tight. I'm sensitive to that. Every dollar matters. I have 2 daughters in college, so I know firsthand every dollar counts. But I do think that there's some advantages for you to consider with membership dues as a student. Another example of value and influence, on December 29th, I'm sure you're aware, the U.S. Departments of Agriculture and Health and Human Services released the 20 to 25 dietary guidelines for Americans. 10 academy members, 10, that's pretty incredible, served on the Dietary Guidelines Advisory Committee. And that scientific report was released in July, of course. The report emphasized the dietary guidelines for Americans must be informed by rigorous scientific evidence representing all Americans. And academy members, practice group members, member interest groups submitted feedback that was used to develop the academy's comments on the scientific report as the guidelines were being developed. So as you can see here, the academy had our back and was engaged throughout the entire process and development. And we do support the recommendations outlined in the new dietary guidelines, and especially the life stages approach. There has never really been a better time to enter the nutrition and dietetics profession. In a recent US News and World Report ranking of best jobs, I don't know how many of you knew that we were ranked number 24 in best healthcare jobs. And that shows you that there are numerous opportunities that await. I'm sure Dr. McKinley can agree, but we often find in our field, there's this common banter, if you will. Are you clinical or food service? And there are so many more areas and sectors. If you talk to dietitians, which I know most of you have, you'll find that very few of us took a path that we predicted and are doing now what we ever thought we would do. And that's really the beauty when we deal with food and nutrition and become the world experts in that area. The opportunities are just limitless. And dietetics is one of the fields that continues to really be outstanding. It's booming. We're going to be needing more and more RDNs in the future. Just a few years ago, the Bureau of Labor Statistics projected about a 12% employment growth for dietitian and nutritionists by the year 2028. And I don't know what it's like in your part of the country, Dr. McKinley, but here in Kansas and the Midwest, we really haven't seen a slowdown of employment. Our graduates are still being sought after. And so that's one of those things that both graduates and their parents like to hear. Who wants to be paid? I know all hands are in the air. And there's some great news in terms of salaries. All dietitians in the academy would like for the highest salaries possible for practitioners. And the good news is that the median salaries for RDNs and NDTRs is increasing faster than the rate of inflation. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the Compensation and Benefits Survey. It's a long report. It's very detailed. It comes out routinely. The Academy invests in this report because it's important. It forms all kinds of bases for salary negotiations, maybe new job descriptions. And I use it routinely with my own students and with employers that call me and say, hey, Kevin, we're looking at changing or modifying some of the positions in our hospital. We might go to hiring only graduate prepared RDNs. And this compensation and benefits survey is very, very valuable, and it's free to members. Otherwise, it would be about $250 by itself. So that's a great resource for you. Related to that area, in the latest survey, which was done in 2019, the compensation and benefits survey, the median salary for RDNs was about $68,000. Now, does that mean every RDN makes $68,000? Of course not. We have graduates with all levels of responsibility, making all levels of salaries. Location impacts this. All types of things impact starting salary. That $68,000 median was also comprised of all education levels too. So you can see that there are some differences in terms of when you start slicing the data a little bit. But that $68,000 is an 8% increase from the previous 2 years in 2017. That's good news. For NDTRs, the median was about $45,800. That's a 9% increase from the years before that as well. So the 2-year inflation rate over that same period of time, 2017 to 2019, was 4.7%. So as you can see, the salaries for credentialed practitioners outpaced the inflation rate by about twofold. And then again, if we look at other academy membership benefits and career enhancing dues, you'll see in this graphic here that the academy has a lot to offer. Now, this might not be important yet, but once you become credentialed, like Dr. McKinley and I, you'll start needing to get CPEUs, continuing professional education units. We need to keep the saw sharpened. We need to be as close to evidence as possible with regard to our practice. So by being a member, you also have access to the journal, the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, a highly reputable journal, has a great impact factor. There are 54 free CPEUs available just through the journal alone. There are numerous online certificate of training programs. There's networking available. There's access to free career resources like the compensation and benefits survey that I just mentioned. There's a job negotiation tool out there, a career section. So as you can see, there are all kinds of benefits that equate to about $3,000 of benefit for that $58 now that will gradually go up, of course, when you become a full active member. Members also, including you as student members, have access to all kinds of other resources. Again, some of these come at a discount. Registration for FNCE. Now, how many of you wanted FNCE to be in New Orleans? See, I'm going to put both hands up. I was waiting on that myself. Safety comes first. It's just not possible. So we're going to go virtual. I wish I was there to meet you all in person in New Orleans as I preside over that FNCE, but it's going to be great. I don't know if any of you have attended yet. A little secret, I always say when you put a little U in FNCE, it becomes FUNCE. So it's a great event. And for those of you that maybe didn't participate, last year's virtual event was outstanding. And the Academy staff turned that around in about 90 days. And we had almost 14,000 attendees from 58 countries. So you can imagine if what they did last year in 90 days, how outstanding it's going to be this year. And I've had a peek behind the scenes, very, very, very impressed with what's going to happen. So you can see that there's all kinds of additional benefits: FNCE registration, nutrition care manual products, academy publications, including the journal, food nutrition magazine, as you'll see here on this next slide, the journal, the evidence analysis library, position papers, the professional code of ethics. And the great thing is, by being a member, these resources are available to you 24/7 at the eatrightpro.org website. You also get subscriptions to the weekly newsletter from the Academy, Eat Right Weekly, other communications, public policy weekly news, the Nutrition and Dietetics Smart Brief. And then also, as we see here on the next few slides, you'll have access to all kinds of practice groups, which I'm sure your faculty have talked to you about. But we have practice groups that you can join that are really mini communities of learning, wanting to know more about a particular area of practice or a precise area of practice. I'm a member of numerous of these, but it takes you into all kinds of networking opportunities across all of our geographically located affiliates and other areas as well. So these academy groups come with membership. And then again, as I mentioned, there are student-specific benefits as well. One is the Student Scoop e-newsletter. Some of you may already get it. You may be part of the editorial board, but there are resources and opportunities written by students for students. Numerous leadership opportunities, including the Student Liaison Program with the Academy, which gives you leadership skills that can help you as a stepping stone into other volunteer or nationally servant leadership roles. And then again, student members can apply for scholarships with the Academy's foundation. These range from $500 to $10,000 each. And then there are grants available. And many of my own graduate students have been recipients of the foundation grants to support their research agendas. And these range from $1,000 to $20,000 as well. So those are some student-specific benefits that I think you'll want to think about, especially as you begin your internships. And then again, the Career Dues Starter Program, Career Starter Dues Program, this was the Academy being mindful that education is expensive. It costs a lot, as you all know firsthand. So as you can see here, when you graduate, complete that internship and pass the RD exam, they realize that the first few years they back off of the dues. So it goes up to $70, $106, $140, and so forth, as you can see. So it's not until year 6 that you're expected to pay the full rate, which right now is $234. So there's an incremental approach to your dues after you start and finish and graduate and all that. Again, the work we do in nutrition and dietetics is about people. And I often tell my students, if you don't like working with people, we need to pick a different career. But most graduates that come out of high school, they inform me, I want to get into this profession to help people lead healthy and happier lives. And many of you probably feel the same way. And the Academy believes in that too. Keep in mind, the Academy and the Commission work hand in hand to support the Code of Ethics. That makes sure that our credentials are relevant and standing out as the experts in food and nutrition. The leadership skills and professional knowledge developed through Academy membership will, in fact, help your career. I've said never in a million years, many, many times in my career. And, you know, I've done okay. And it's because the Academy was behind me, including the addition. As many of you know, the Academy is working to enhance diversity efforts aimed at ensuring dietetics practitioners reflect the communities that we actually serve. There's an enormous amount of work going on in that area. And so as we advocate for the profession, for you and your clients and your patients, we just want you to know that the public policy and regulatory issues are always there as well. So those are my few slides, and I'm going to take the share off, and we can talk openly about whatever else you'd like to talk about. I'm an open box, open book.
How did you get into dietetics?
Wonderful question. So Meredith, I was just a kid growing up on a farm in Southwest Kansas, about 6 hours from here. And, you know, I was really interested in personal health and fitness myself. I was going to a junior college and my roommate was in pharmacy. I knew I wanted to do something in medicine, but I wasn't sure how far into that I wanted to go. And literally our university came to an academic fair. And I stopped at the booth and said, do you have anything in the food and wellness area? And they said, well, you know, we have a very reputable dietetics program. And I went to what we called the encyclopedia. You might have to Google that, but I went to the encyclopedia and I looked this up and I thought that's what I want to do. So I came up here and I enrolled. I'd never been this far to this corner of the state, and I got enrolled. And Meredith, long story short, I absolutely hated some of the classes. I absolutely just could not stand wearing this hairnet and poking a thermometer into the side of me. But as the courses went on, I started to like that. I liked food safety. I liked managing. And so there's where the never say never came in. I wanted to help people with diabetes because we have a family history of that. But I found myself in school nutrition right out of college. Never would have saw that coming in a million years, and I absolutely loved it. Then I went into college dining and came back, got my master's, and then I went into healthcare, food and nutrition management, administration, and came back and did my doctorate. Now, part of the reason I tell that story, I now co-direct the National Center for Food Safety and Child Nutrition Programs. And I am so thankful that my career started off in that area. I never, ever, ever would have thought there would be a connection, but you'll find it just about everything you pick has some kind of magical connection. But I wouldn't trade it. I know we all get frustrated explaining to our family and friends what a dietitian is. I actually enjoy that. I enjoy explaining the opportunities and what we are and what we do. But yes, I still do have family members that say, aren't you a chef or something like that? I say, no, not quite. Hope that helps, Meredith.
I think it's funny you said that, because just this past weekend I had a family member ask me, so like, what are you going to do when you graduate? Like, what do dietitians do? And I spat off a few different options that I know of. So like, what would be some advice to like respond in a way that was just like entertaining almost? Because I know dietitians can do a lot, and you can do more than people think. But like, what are some like unusual professions that dietitians can go into?
Oh, that's a great question, Cassie. I sometimes will tell people that, you know, the list of what we can't do and don't do is shorter. But it really is, the sky is the limit. And, you know, when you look at retail dietetics, that's an emerging area. Working with grocery store chains, I think sometimes we overlook sales and marketing with large food distributors. We've had numerous graduates go work for Cisco or the large vendors, and they may specialize in the pediatric market. They might specialize in the healthcare market. They love their jobs. We've had about 15 graduates go into the school nutrition environment, like I mentioned. Never saw that coming. They may have had a bad taste in their mouth from high school, but just think of the opportunities. And we really need dietitians in those environments to deal with managing the budget and the people, but the food allergies and the nutrition standards. It's a great environment. And then you have sub-environments within environments. So for example, our state agency that oversees all the child nutrition environments, we have about 15 graduates working for the state agency. And they seldom put a hairnet on or manage employees, but they go out and provide service and support to the school nutrition professionals that are out there. And we see very little turnover in those positions. We have some graduates working for Blue Cross and Blue Shield. Some start their own companies. So, you know, at the end of the day, food and nutrition, what doesn't it touch? And, you know, where can't we be a shadow that affects everyone's lives? And Cassie and others, I would say, you know, let it come to you. Get a job, get involved. That first position doesn't have to be perfect. Learn about the culture, learn about others, what works and doesn't work. And then I think the opportunities will often keep finding you, because again, we're highly sought after as credentialed practitioners. Other questions before we have Dr. McKinley talk about the Krebs cycle? She's like, nope, not doing that.
Definitely could not do that if you paid me $1 million.
I need to be careful doing that, or someone's going to ask me to do it, and I can't either.
So next year, are you taking a sabbatical from your position, or are you going to try to still manage a little bit of it?
Oh, great question. This is what us academics do all the time. It is quite a commitment to serve as president. I'm very honored. And, you know, I guess one way to look at it is to become president, you've probably served on a number of committees already. So I was chair of the commission for 2 years, and that was a pretty heavy lift as well. And really, really enjoyed that role. But we've had so many leadership changes and things going on with the pandemic and travel. I'm not planning on a sabbatical. I have an outstanding GTA and other people willing to support me. Some of my classes will shift to online, and that will help with the load as well. But so we've had a little bit of shifts, but not a full-fledged sabbatical. I think had the travel been in place, Dr. McKinley, that might have been a different story.
I have another question.
Go for it.
Are you going to be paid in any way to be president?
No, that's a volunteer position. You're provided a little bit of a stipend for your expenses for the president. So there's past president, current president, and president-elect. There's a little stipend that comes with it, but no, it's not paid. It's just really the most dynamic way to give back. And I often feel like, you know, it's not the president's show. We have these 19 board members who are just absolutely incredible. And it's going to be such an honor to sit with them in the boardroom and make really important decisions for our professions. So I think a lot of the task and the exposure can be shared among all the board members.
So what would you give them for advice about kind of easing into leadership positions once they're RDs?
Yep. I would say one little thing I would suggest is a lot of you are doing leadership. So Meredith provided the introduction. I anticipate that means you might be in an officer position.
I am. I serve as president.
And you'd be surprised, maybe you wouldn't be, how many academy presidents were former SDA or SNDA presidents. So leadership's in all of us. And I think you can start at any time, even as a student. Informal leadership is very, very important within your employment sector. You know, asking why, saying, I see a gap, I see a variance with my employment situation or with what we do, and I want to take charge of that and try to bring some value. And then beyond that, once you become an RD, you know, it can grow very naturally with your state affiliate. So like Dr. McKinley's obviously very involved with her state affiliate. That is a great opportunity where there is a huge need. And a lot of my own students say, oh, that title sounds too high for me. And it's just not. There's a team and we're all supporters of one another. And the academy at the national level provides a lot of support to the affiliate state level. So you're not left alone. And I would encourage you all to get involved as a cohort and as a group, because you can keep things going without it having to start and stop too much. But again, ask people, where can I be involved? Do you have any opportunities? And I don't think you'll see a shortage of that. But it doesn't have to be a full-fledged 3-year commitment that consumes all of your life and personal time as well. You can serve as a subject matter expert. Dr. McKinley, one idea to answer your question that I never knew was out there, but once you pass the exam, you can serve as a volunteer item writer for the exam. And you can specialize in a certain area. And they send you through a workshop, they teach you how to do it and train you how to do it. That honestly is where it all began for me. I got an email one day in 2005. It said, Dr. Sauer, we'd like to invite you to come write RD and exam items in the management and food service sector. And I looked at it and thought, they've got to have the wrong Kevin. And I went up there and it was this workshop and they put you in a nice hotel and they kept calling me back. Well, do you want to do this? And do you want to try that? And that led to serving on the commission and chairing the exam panel. And that led to serving on the board of directors. And so it can start very small, but the impact is always significant when you volunteer. Great question. And it's okay if you do not have more questions. There's nothing awkward about this Zoom world that we're in, as we know. But Dr. McKinley knows where to find me. And if you were to send me an email, I'll respond. If you want to meet via Zoom, be happy to meet via Zoom. If we ever get back to an in-person fancy, I'll be one of those few dozen men looking for the restroom or something. Just come up and say, hey, I remember you. You spoke to our club. Be happy to visit. But you know, really do keep in touch, and really any of the board members or the academy staff, they really, really are there to help you and guide you, and they love hearing from students.
I actually have one more question, kind of talking about that. So you're going to move into the president position and also being a male in a female dominated field. Is there any way as students that we can encourage diversity, whether through gender or race within this profession?
Yeah, it's an outstanding, pivotal, paramount question, Meredith. We all have to have a role in this. I firmly support the Academy and all the initiatives that they're taking, but of course our members have said we need and we want more. So diversity has always been a part of the Academy's scope of work, but it's much more important now. And I think part of what you're saying, and I agree with, is a lot of that really needs to start at the educational level. And, you know, we understand inclusivity and diversity and the importance of that. Sometimes we don't do so well at the access part. You know, what creative means and measures can we use to make sure we're attracting diverse individuals who want to do this? And, you know, one thing we have to address is many of us got into this field because we want to go back and serve our own communities. So we can't have a one way to approach practice if we ever want to attract diverse individuals who want to go back and help their own areas and communities. So that's going to have to evolve and change, and it is happening. The Academy has invested great time and personnel this past year to really support the Diversity and Inclusivity Committee. That led to 10 listening sessions by an external group. All that data is being analyzed. There's now a Diversity and Inclusivity Advisory Committee. There are now several $100,000 of support through the foundation to support diverse individuals with ethnic backgrounds and more to come into the profession. But I think we, as students and members, have to go and reach out and talk about the excitement and the opportunities that exist, and that we are a welcoming profession and that we want to learn from each other. And some of that also comes down to having discussions that we maybe formerly thought were difficult or hard to have. But you know, it's just going to have to be part of our font, as I call it. It's not a chapter. It's not a one-time thing. It's not a quota. Diversity has to be part of the font that we write the story with for forever going forward. And I haven't found a student group yet that doesn't agree with that, but we can't do it without support from the Academy as well. So I encourage you all to be creative and send your ideas to the Academy as well. Good question, Meredith. Dr. McKinley, is this where we do the quiz?
All right, if no one else has any more questions, we can let Dr. Sauer take a break before his next presentation.
Yep, I'm going to fly to Illinois now, so that ought to be a quick flight. I really appreciate you all taking the time. I understand there was a conflict with another class. And so again, Dr. McKinley, I'm here at your disposal if I can ever help anymore. And maybe I can bring your outstandingness to my students someday and you can engage with them. So
that would be amazing.
Awesome.
Let me know anytime.
Okay, well, we'll be in touch, okay?
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be in touch.
Thank you.
All right, well, we'll let Meredith share the PowerPoint for our regular meeting. So we just have some announcements to do.
All right, let's see. All right, so just some reminders for everybody. Please, please, please log all of your volunteer hours. So you could be running for a service award. Those are going to be announced at our next and final meeting, which is so sad. And then remember to be checking in with your mentor and mentee, filling out that monthly survey. And yeah, our last meeting and our next meeting is April 20th, and we will be having an American Sign Language demo from Hands It Here at LSU. So I'm super excited about that.
If anyone is confused as to why we would have an ASL demonstration, it's because Hands That Here is trying to reach out to more groups on campus that would be exposed to individuals who may be hard of hearing or deaf. And I think all of you who are planning on being health professionals, it's good exposure. And some of you might actually be more sign language depending on what populations you end up working with.
Yeah. And going back to volunteer activity, so we do have a gold, silver, and bronze service award, and those will be announced at our next meeting. And these are all based off of points accumulated through volunteering, donations, raffle tickets, fundraising. meetings, all of that. So be sure to log all of that activity, and the cutoff for that will be April 16th. So make sure to get it in by then. And then Easter basket assembly is tomorrow. So that's going to be from 2:30 to 4:30 in the Nap Hall Lounge. And there's a Google Doc to go sign up for that if you are interested. And then Senior Choice Faculty Member of the Year. So this is for graduating senior members of SNDA only, but it will take place from April 5th through the 9th. And this year's nominees are Brandy Miliotto and Dr. McKinley. And we're going to present the winner with the award at our next meeting. So Andy, you should be getting an email from Andy with that ballot to vote. And then shout out to our chairs for next year. So Tech and Marketing, Olivia. Social Points and Mentoring is Rachel. Outreach is going to be shared with Cameron and Mia. And then Brand Interns and Liaisons is Mia and Lindsay. So that's super exciting. ASA Baskets and National Nutrition Month is Cassie, fundraising is Peyton and Abby, and historian is Anna. And then round of applause for Rachel as well for being the member of the month. So Dr. McKinley, do you have something to say about that?
I don't think Rachel's with us. She's probably in class, but Rachel's been killing it all year with volunteering and donating and buying raffle tickets and making herself available to kind of absorb as many opportunities for experience as she can. And she's definitely going to be someone to watch in the next couple of years for really representing SNDA well. So I think she was well deserving of this recognition this month.
Congratulations. And then SNDA, if you didn't hear, won the 2021 ASA Club of the Year. Super exciting. So here's just some memories from the year that we've taken pictures of. You know, everyone's favorite giant crawfish with the chef hat to helping Miss My Hand and Thanksgiving baskets and all the cute peer mentoring recipes. So I think it's been an amazing year for SNDA, especially with COVID. We've definitely made the best out of it and super excited to announce that. Also, shout out to Laura for getting the Land Outstanding Student in Dietetics. Dr. McKinley, do you want to talk a little bit more about this?
Yeah, so Miss Myhand and I nominate one senior every year from Dietetics for this award, and we've been fortunate enough to get this the second year in a row. Last year it was Nicole, this year it's Laura. And then Laura also received the Irene Tolliver Highburn Merit Award, which is a $1,000 scholarship that's given to a student who is planning on going into an internship. And Laura was the first senior to receive a dietetic internship this year. She got a pre-select spot at UT Health, and she's probably going to be a university medalist based on her GPA. So she's been killing it this year, all 4 years. We're really proud of her, and we're gonna miss her when she's gone.
Yes. And then shout out to Dr. McKinley for getting the Land Outstanding Dietitian of the Year. So Dr. Sauer kind of mentioned this, but yeah, great job. And then make sure to follow us on all of our social media. We also have a private Instagram. I did not put that on here, but yeah. And do we have a attendance link for today or?
Yeah, let me send that real quick in the chat. And then I also have an announcement for Brand as well.
Yes.
I'll send the attendance in my email too in case you can't do it right now. Okay, and then Brand, our next meeting is Thursday, April 8th at noon, and it's gonna be the speakers, Rebecca Moore from LSU Performance Nutrition. She's a sports RD at LSU. She oversees gymnastics, beach volleyball, track and field, cross country, and men and women's golf. So she's just going to be talking about her role as a sports dietitian and what all she does. So we hope you can join. And it's also going to be through Dr. McKinley's Zoom link. But I'll attach that in the email as well.
Yes, she is awesome. She's so incredibly smart, so I would definitely recommend.
Do any other chairs that we have on the call? We do need a couple more folks for tomorrow for the Easter basket, so I put that sign up in the chat, and then I'm delivering the pantry clean out goods tomorrow morning to this food pantry, so I'll update everybody with how many pounds that came to. But we did raise about $110, and I went shopping and I spent exactly that dollar amount of money. I was very impressed with myself with coupons.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
that's all I got.
I was just gonna say thank y'all for your donations, and I think we're good for delivery on Thursday. But like Dr. McKinley said, I think some people probably had like a schedule change, so we're short for tomorrow. So we'd love your help.
Dr. McKinley, I have a question.
Sure.
So I work until 4:30 tomorrow, but like I could come after that to help with the Easter baskets, or is that too late?
If you want to text message me or yeah, here, I want to put my phone number in the chat. It's cool. Text me, and if we're still working, I would say stop by.
Okay.
Because they came together pretty easy last year, but that doesn't necessarily mean it will be the same way this year. Sometimes when it comes to like putting them in the bags and getting the ribbons on, it's like, whoa. So
Yeah.
if we get delayed at all, just shoot me a text, and then if we're trying to wrap it up, I'll have you swing by.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Well, y'all have a great evening. Go eat some dinner and enjoy the rest of your week.
Hey, Dr. McKinley, before you leave, can I ask you a question about fundraising?
Yeah.